EndSARS protest, check out another protest happening in Calabar currently. So there's a protest happening in Calabar, and this protest can be termed as a struggle for existence for these beautiful children that were termed witches and wizards by their families. The protest was made known by Guardian News. In Calabar, there is a group of children known as Colombo. These children are children who are labeled witches by their families, and for that reason, they are sent out of their homes. It is very sad to know that at this modern age, we still have parents who are deceived by fake prophets and self-acclaimed men of God. How on earth would you believe that a child which you bore would be a witch or a wizard? Even at that, why don't you deliver the child from being a witch rather than chase the child away to fed for themselves on the street? This is actually very, very embarrassing, because at the end of the day, you have to be ready to have children. You don't just have children and push them to the roadside because a random pastor who acts as the intermediary between himself and God, or herself and God, telling you that this person is a witch. Why can't you go to God yourself and ask, is this person really a witch? Is my child really a witch? Rather than listening to a third party, and that third party is influencing someone's life, and that person's life is on the streets as a minor, which is illegal. And I personally believe that those parents should be taken to court and be dealt with. Remember the image of a child who was rescued from the street by a Danish citizen. This child was left outside to die for 8 months after his parents termed him a witch. To stop this sad event from further happening, the children took to the street of Calabar to protest on their welfare. On their placards, you could clearly read their pains, and on their faces, you could see their hunger and struggle for survival. The children are left on the street. They eat leftovers from restaurants. They hardly bathe or brush their teeth. They are exposed to so many maltreatments in the society. They pass through rejections on every day of their lives. According to the Guardian News, Children between the age of 9 and 15 were seen on the streets of Calabar protesting against being labeled as witches. The children took their protest to the governor's office, and of course you can see all the pictures. Well, it's actually really, really embarrassing, because it's not a thing of, okay, fine, you're not able to take care of the children, in which of course the government should be giving out, loans, or basically incomes to low income families so that they're able to take care of their children. This is not the case. However, you are literally pushing a child onto the streets because the child is a witch. And as a parent, I believe that parent, or whatever parents are doing that, they should be tried in court, because it is legal. You can't leave a minor. You are legally responsible for them until they're 18. All these pictures are really, really sad. And again, this is not even a problem of the government. It's a problem of society that we ourselves have to fix. Everyone has a part to play. And of course, we are talking about EndSARS. We also need to restructure our society, our beliefs, the way we think, and become individuals and think intelligently for ourselves, rather, again, than putting so much faith into a third party, which could be a pastor or whoever else, or even society, and telling you that your child is a witch or a wizard. It is highly insulting to you as a parent, and you as a parent, how irresponsible would you be to believe that your child is a witch and then put them on the street after, in an ideal situation, you wanted or you chose to have this child? Well, this is so sad, because these are the futures of tomorrow. It is terrible to see these children suffer so much for what they are not. I hope the governor pays attention to them, obviously, and gives them, hope for another life, especially when it comes to poverty eradication and getting people off the streets, especially these children. For example, let's say that there was a system in place where, young children are taken into, hostels and homes, and obviously there are stereotypes with how safe it actually is to put children in homes. But if there was a system like that where they take them into homes, there's an education system where they can actually go to school, public school, for free, and it's actually adequate till the age of 16 or 18, whatever the case may be, then maybe such situations would not be happening. For that kind of situation to happen where kids are off the street, it does mean that the people of Nigeria have to be ready to pay higher taxes. Of course, Nigerians are already paying taxes and we know how corrupt the government is. But if we're paying higher taxes and we are demanding that these taxes should be spent on whatever and we should see the proof of what the taxes are going into, then maybe poverty eradication and taking children off the streets would actually be a plausible idea, and it could actually help people and children get off the streets. Well, this is another protest, and it's very shameful because children, they should be aware of the current affairs, but involving them in protest and fighting for their own life really shows the state of the country and where we are. It is highly embarrassing. As in, someone says, one of the placards, the person says, "We can become better citizens if you help us." Because again, when you talk about the youth, these children will grow up, and then if poverty would lead them to be desperate, and desperation for survival will obviously tarnish their values or whatever values that they have to go into, for example, kidnapping or illegal activities just to feed for themselves. And then what would happen is they're not even rehabilitated, they're taken into prison where they are secluded. So the system itself is in a way sort of rigged, because these are young children who should not be on the streets, and they are exposed to so many things which could scar them, scar their mental health, and give them traumas. As you can see, they're all on the streets, and it is questionable how these children got placards, who was involved in the protest, who actually gave them the placards, and who is the leader of this, because there's certainly adults on the street, and obviously these adults should be taking care of them, because to think where these children got the placards from, and then you see random adults on stage, maybe it might be staged, it might not be staged, but it is questionable how there are adults on the street with them, and how did they get the placards, and who is leading these children to go protest. I personally believe that yes, for the system to work, and with the fight of ending SARS and just making Nigeria a better country, we need to demand from the government to show us where our taxes are going, because if we're going to be paying a lot of taxes, the taxes should be going for these causes: poverty eradication, taking children off the street, for public education, healthcare, and so many other amenities that as a human being is their right and should be employed. Well, put what you think about this in the comment section below. Do you believe that children between the age of 9 and 15 should be protesting? Well, again, these children are not as privileged, so I think they are forced in that circumstance to actually go and protest for their lives, because again, being rejected by your family, thinking you're a witch because some random doctor, or some random pastor says that to your parents, is absolutely absurd. And are you of the opinion that these parents should be tried and taken to court? Put what you think in the comment section below, and do not forget to like and subscribe.